Hi everyone, and welcome back to our discussion on the empath leader. Today I want to take some time to discuss some trends in the workforce that have come relatively recently and why I think it's going to take empath leadership and a different eye to the future before things get resolved. There's been a lot of generational grievances of late, and I think we all know what I'm talking about. It seems like it kind of started around 2016 or so, but where it first really became prevalent was right around the Great Resignation towards the end of COVID, when it became clear that this generational divide was really making it into the workforce. The sad thing is that, as if we don't have enough things to keep us divided already, we had to come up with one more. And that's this generational grievance between the millennials and the boomers and the Gen Zs and the Gen Xs. So what does this have to do with being an empath leader? What is this information useful for? And as an empath leader, how do we navigate these murky waters? For those of us who carry the talent of empathy, and as we've said, this is a talent, this is a gift, this is something that exists on a continuum and needs to be brought into the light and used. We probably already understand that when we relate to people, it's as a one-on-one human basis and not as means of deciding which box a person goes into and which check marks or star bellies these sneetches have. When we relate as humans, categorizations and stereotypes fall to the wayside because there's no need for them. I know who someone is, so I have no reason to put them into a category for a quick cognitive label. I'm smarter than my own brain, as we can all be. And this can be done for groups as well as for singular individuals, because we understand on a humanistic level that people are not that easily categorized. What we as empath leaders need to understand, whatever our personal generation in relationship to technology, is that we have so much that we can learn from each other, and that by pitting groups of people against one another, we lose the opportunity for synergistic and exponential growth. And that's not only not acceptable, but we're losing the biggest business reason for diversity and not categorizing. Let's bring this right back down to brass tacks. Businesses have to make a profit or they die. There it is. What I'm saying is that by being human-centric, approaching our people as an empath, and being an empathic leader first, we make better profits. We have more innovation, and businesses thrive. It is better not just for our people, but for our businesses to approach it as an empath leader. There is a book called The Diversity Bonus by Scott Page. In this book, he talks about how diversity helps us all in ways far beyond simply doing the right thing. If we believe diversity is the right thing to do, which I do, this also gives a very real business reason for it, and he backs it up with research. We have to go beyond what our brains do automatically in categorization. It doesn't just say why diversity is a good idea, but rather shows how organizations can tap into the hidden potential of cognitive diversity. What's cognitive diversity? It's the differences in how people think. If you have a group of people and they come from different backgrounds and different experiences, different ways of life, they are going to think differently. They're going to see different solutions. They're going to see different ways to solve problems. They're going to have different innovations. By bringing these different people together on teams, we create what's called cognitive diversity. And that's where the business case really lies. If we all come from different backgrounds and have different experiences and paths, we can bring that together to create more innovation, more forward progress, and greater outcomes based on how we relate to and think about one another. Eliminating a single category, whatever that category is, lessens this cognitive synergy, which in turn lessens what we are all capable of. And that's really short-sighted. In a very real business sense, we lose innovation, which lessens competitiveness and subsequent profit. Diversity isn't just the right thing to do, it also makes more money. Make no mistake, this applies to all diversity. In this, we're discussing generational diversity, but this applies to all diversity. At the very least, there are studies showing that cognitive diversity shows improved problem-solving capability, exponentially increased innovation, and more accurate predictive analysis. What else do you need to know? By putting your people first and taking a humanistic approach, we all win. All stakeholders win. So here's yet another great example of how honing your humanity and spending time self-reflecting leads to great gains for everybody. And if you've taken the time to look inward, like we talked about self-reflection, and know that this inclusivity is part of your personal mission and values, which if you spend time with self-reflection is a question you should ask yourself, then it's part of what an empath leader is called to do. The fact that it can be backed with business value only strengthens the position. As for me, I'm a Gen X. I am squarely in the middle of the boomers and the millennials, and it's like watching a ping pong match, back and forth. What I know is that for me personally, I have learned a lot from people that are older than me, and I've learned a lot from people that are younger than me. Because I spent time as a college professor, I spent a lot of time with these younger generations, and they have so much to give and have such a bright spark for looking outside the box and have such tolerance that we really need to be paying attention to them and not just let the power differential divide us. Keep in mind, as we talk about this and the laziness of these younger generations, that the boomers were the original generation that were told to turn on, tune in, and drop out, meaning go out of the labor force and find yourself. It would seem that the more things change, the more they stay the same. So if nothing else, we all have that common ground. I also think that despite some of the negative press that the younger generations get, these up-and-coming generations have the ability to produce some of the best empath leaders ever because they are oriented towards people and can think beyond what they're told. I see the potential for great positive movement, but we need to be able to sit down and talk without bringing in stereotypes, power differentials, and categorizations into the conversation. This is possible, but only if we react one-on-one on a humanistic level, instead of with rhetoric and divisiveness. The interesting part about considering our humanity as our greatest weapon, as we've discussed, is that it's a weapon that actually has the ability to unite and not just divide. It can be the thing that actually brings us together for the greater good. Whether that greater good is a better society or more profit. As long as we allow ourselves to be categorized so we don't band together, we all lose. In the words of Helen Keller, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much.